we're taking a look at the EMEET SmartCam S800. Now, this is a 4K web camera with Sony half-inch sensors, which is actually beautifully well done. Now, this is going to do HDR, but can also, of course, do dual autofocus connectability. Now, it will, of course, record in 4K resolution for you guys if you want to do that 4K, but you can also drop it down to 1080p at 60 frames per second as well inside the software. Now, with this, of course, you guys are going to have a beautiful camera. It does use, of course, USB-C to USB-A cabling. If you have a USB-C to USB-C cable, make sure it's a high pass-through cabling acceptable with that. Now, the camera does have dual noise-canceling microphones, does have a field of view of 40 degrees to 73 degrees, and it is actually one of the larger web cameras that I've actually seen. That's because they actually added cooling fans to the back of this, or cooling fins to the back. Now, with it, it does have a built-in, of course, privacy cover that you can actually turn on and off with that. It has a mic or a monitor stand that you can actually tilt and adjust this. This has full adjustability to angle it, the direction, or twist it to the way you want. Monitor stand, of course, pops down and then just sits on your monitor. It has rubberized padding to stop the marring of those surfaces and to help grip it nice and tight. If you don't want to connect it up that way, connect it up to a tripod and you're good to go as well. The USB-C cabling is on the back, of course, for this. It's going to do 4K, 2K, 1080p, and 720p, up to you how you choose with this. Now, you guys can stream in UHD or ultra high depth with that. Now, it's got what's called rapid focus with dual focus modes, which is PDAF and TOF connectability focuses with that. Now, with, of course, that crystal clear noise canceling software, we can be using and talking at the same time. The next thing you're going to see is actually this camera in use and the software. So if you guys give me a second, let's swap over to that. Now that we are actually on this web camera, which is, of course, the EMEET S800, you guys are hearing it straight from the microphones as well. I literally have it plugged and played. You're going to hear, of course, some little bit of background noise, but maybe not as much with that, of course, built-in background software removal, and that's actually up here. If I actually turn it off, it'll drop it down, and we don't have to worry about it. Now, we do have a firmware update, guys, and you can do those firmware updates, or you can pop over into the settings to make sure you have that right version for this. Now, when we swap back over, you guys are going to see, of course, this raw plug and play. I haven't adjusted anything with this. Now, inside the software, which is, of course, the EMEET E-Link, you guys can change, of course, the grid pattern. So if you guys want a grid pattern or golden ratio or crosshairs or, of course, square grid pattern, you guys can do that or even turn it off. Horizontal flip, which means I'm just going to flip the actual picture, or vertical flip, which means I'm upside down, depending on if we have the camera hung upside down, which is actually kind of cool with that. Now, autofocus, if I really want to, the autofocus, I can turn on and off with this. Now, good autofocus or focus test is of bringing my watch up to see how quick it can actually recognize the watch from here to there. And that is actually quite fast. Now, yes, it's moving back and forth because I'm not completely still. But if I come closer, you guys will see that it actually has a very beautiful autofocus. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually shut that autofocus off. We're going to, of course, change it around. We're going to do this right here and bring it up and show you guys. With the autofocus off, it's not as clear, which is not a bad deal, of course, with that. We turn that autofocus, and we can actually adjust the autofocus in there by manual, and then, of course, we can do that as well. Now, we don't need to do that because we can have the autofocus set up for this. Now, with this, of course, we can do HDR. The HDR is a 3.0 port connectability only, so do know that it does have that. Customizations, where I can actually change the picture quality to standard to portrait, which is going to change the color hues. Object, of course, is going to bring me down white, and, of course, bring out my freckles, which is, I've never seen my freckles before that up close, which is kind of scary for me. And of course, we just got vivid, which is going to just change colors and brightness with the bright. I'm going to leave it at custom with that 60 hertz and 50 hertz changeability with this, of course, on hand. We can adjust the brightness if we really want it bright or we want to dull it down. That's up to us. We also have the EV, which is just going to change stuff out either. What I can actually do is restore the actual pieces, where it restores all of our sections of that with this.
Great little camera, amazing autofocus, of course, with this. Nice plug and play. Yes, I'm using the software to show you guys what it can do, but still pretty much plug and play and raw usage. The noise canceling works actually decently well because I do have an AC going on over here. I actually have a fan and ice machine, if you guys can see the ice machine back there, and a stack of dishes that need put away in the cupboard. The S800 from EMEET actually is a very beautifully well done web camera. Now, we're going to be doing, of course, a bunch more testing at some point with some other stuff. But if you guys are looking for a plug-and-play streaming web camera, EMEET might be the one for you. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great one.